And then I will share my screen. Okay, welcome everybody to the September issue of the Symbiota support group. Thanks for joining us on a slightly later than normal Monday, but we're excited that you could come join us. First of all, we just want to make a couple of important announcements to the Symbiota user community and community at large. First of all, the iDigBio Biodiversity Digitization Conference is coming up very quickly. It is not next week, but the following week. Go to this website here, and Lindsay will put that link in the chat to register. It's going to be really exciting. Lots of talking about the new tools and the new workflows, and NSF is going to be there and talking about funding. So it's going to be a great time. It is completely virtual, so feel free to join. And I think it's free. So do come. This has once upon a time been called the iDigBio Summit, but they've rebranded it because they want it to be more inclusive. So it is the Biodiversity Digitization Conference. So tons of fun. Come join us in a couple of weeks. Like we mentioned last time, there will be a specific digitization workflows in Symbiota workshop. So feel free to join us for that. That is on the third day, which is Thursday. The 29th. Then TADWIG, or also known as the Biodiversity Information Standards meeting, that's also happening in about a month. So October, it's in Sofia, Bulgaria, but you can also register and attend remotely, and we'll be giving a talk there as well. We're also putting together a potential symposium for the Spinach 2023 meeting. I know it's kind of hard thinking about 2023 already, but workshops and symposium proposals are going in. And so if you have an idea of a tool that you've been using or a way that you've been using Symbiota that you think would be important to a broader community of natural history collections users, then we love to hear from you. We've reached out to a couple of people, but we are putting in a proposal, hopefully at the end of the month. So it's a pretty quick turnaround. Just let us know. I also wanted to mention some great progress. There was a bug that was mentioned, I think, at a previous meeting where the taxonomic cleaning tool was not populating empty family and authorship values, and we have fixed this. Feel free to go to this GitHub issue if you want more information about how that was resolved. But just so you know, bugs and issues are being resolved, even if it might take a little bit of time. All right, and we want to take a brief moment to ask if there are any announcements from around the community. So any exciting projects people are involved in, or updates elsewise. All right, well, there should be time at the end for some more discussion as well if you come up with something. Okay, a couple of reminders. Just remember to email our help desk if you need any help. We're at help@symbiota.org. I know in many months ago, we had a different email address, and we've still been getting a couple of emails from the old symbiota@asu.edu. Please don't email that one anymore. Please email help@symbiota.org, and that will get your emails to us expediently. Then also remember that we have our wonderful Symbiota docs and Symbiota YouTube channel. And the stuff we're going to be talking about today is well documented in a nice post that Laura put together about citations. So we'll be linking that in the future too. And then, of course, you can always find our Symbiota support group recordings on our website, symbiota.org. Okay, so I'm excited to talk about, or turn it over to Laura to talk about our new citation features that have recently been developed. So we're going to be talking about how these new citation features can be used. They they function on the data usage policy page of a Symbiota portal. You may or may not have seen this page on your portal because it's activated on some, but not others. We're going to talk about how citations show up on collection profile pages and in downloads. And then Laura will talk about how to implement this new citation feature in a portal. So it must be set up by a portal administrator, but Laura will talk about that. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to Laura, biodiversity informatician for NEON and also for the Symbiota Support Hub. Thanks a lot, Laura.
Thank you, Katie. So like Katie said, we're going to talk about citations in Symbiota. So I'm going to use as an example the biorepository, the NEON biorepository data portal, because that's the one I work the closest with. And so it usually tends to receive the Symbiota updates first, because it's what I work with on a daily basis. So, but it should look the same for every Symbiota portal that has the same features activated. So just to show you an example of what the guidelines of where the citations show up in your portal. One would be, this is a custom page that we have. It's the usage policy data page. Oops, sorry. And it shows the citation formats in the page itself. So if I click here and go to that page, these formats are dynamic. They are not being manually typed, in opposition to what the current data usage policy page is. So currently, if you make a copy of the usage policy page in your portal, the usage policy template page, you'll have a manually typed page with the citation formats that you should use. With this update, these formats have to be updated in just one place, and they will show up dynamically here in this page. And I will explain more about that. So how do I do this full page? There you go. That page, like Katie said, is not accessible in all portals, but it can be added to the menu or linked on the homepage if the Symbiota portal manager or admin has access to the files and can make a copy of that page. So that page should be included in the folder called includes, and that's where all our templates are. If someone needs help activating that page, please contact us and we can help you. And for the pages that we are doing support for in the backend, we can also activate that on request. And another mention, something we're going to talk about is the formats that are here are kind of standardized for all. There's only one format for each category, and they're all standardized by default, but the community is free to change the citation format as they wish. They just have to discuss that and make the changes themselves, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Why is it going back? Oh, yes. So now we're going to talk about the collection profile pages. That's another place where the citations will show up. And why we're doing this? We are doing this because we want to nudge users of our data to actually cite where they got the data from us, because it's hard for us to keep track of where people get the data from a Symbiota portal. We don't have automated tools yet to keep track of all the data usage. So if people actually start using these citation formats, it's going to be easier for us to track, like, where are they downloading the data from, which collections are they using? Are they using searches? Are they using full collection profiles? Are they just getting the data from GBIF, and so on? So this is an example of a collection that is not, this is on NEON as well. It's this link here. I can show you there directly. It's a collection that is not being published to GBIF. So it has your regular page, the collection name and everything else. And here below the usage rights, you'll see a paragraph or another block of code citing the with the citation format. So in this case, it has the collection name, also the occurrence data set that is automatically created by Symbiota, so you don't have to remember this long string of characters here. Also adds the URL where the zip file for the collection can be found. So this is only posted here if your collection has a package that is published and renewed every now and then. And it will tell you where you found that data. So in this case, because you're in a collection page, it came from this portal. And this would be the URL where you can find a full zip file on that date. And the date is really important to us, at least in the NEON project, because we are constantly updating the data. So having an idea of when you downloaded the occurrence information is really important to make sure you have the right version or the most up-to-date version of the data. So if we go to a collection that is published to GBIF, you're going to see more things. One of them is it's going to grab the GBIF citation information. GBIF creates their own tracking system for the data set, so they will generate a DOI for every collection that you publish to GBIF. And this is really great because it helps us track the data usage in an automated way, so we don't have to go Googling who is using our data. If you use the DOI that GBIF supplies us with, GBIF will do all the tracking for us. So if I go to a page, another thing that will show up, and that depends on GBIF's API. So GBIF remote data is this widget here that Katie actually suggested we added. And it's the widget with the citations of that data set on GBIF. So if I click that button, it takes me to the GBIF published resource and the citations, the literature where this data set has been cited. And that is really cool, I think, and really important to us to measure, usability of collections. So another thing that will show up in collections that are published to GBIF is the GBIF dataset page as usual. This is already available. And this is the new snippet, which is the citation format for a collection pushed to GBIF. And if you know, here it's a little different. The standard format is a little different from the other collections because it uses GBIF's citation format. So if you go to this DOI here, which is again provided by GBIF, you will see the data set page on GBIF, and it will have a citation automatically generated, citation format automatically generated, which should be accessible in this how to cite icon. So if you go to the citation, that format is exactly what we are putting in the Symbiota portal. So it's getting directly from GBIF into this format. And we only add where we're accessing the data from and the date. Because again, I'm sure you are aware, every time you push changes to GBIF, it might take some time to get the data actually up to date on the GBIF side, because things take a while to, get crawled. And so we put this here so that you know when you access the data, and to see sometimes there's a divergence between the data in the Symbiota portal and on GBIF. So by adding this little snippet of information here, you can tell, oh, okay, I downloaded this from the portal, from GBIF on this date, so I can tell when the data was up to date or not. And yeah, so if we go to the CCH2 as an example, the Hoover Herbarium has 290 citations that are fetched directly from GBIF, and they're being tracked because this collection is being pushed to GBIF. So if you want to know how many how many papers or studies or projects are using your data actively and citing your data, we urge you to publish your data to GBIF, because then you can make use of their automated citation tracking, which is great in my opinion. Another thing that we implemented is the citation formats will show up in the downloads. So every time you download a file from Symbiota, you get a package. Can be a Darwin Core archive or a Symbiota archive. And it's a zip file with several files inside, right? It's a zip package. So now we are adding another file called CiteMe. And that file, so here is an example. I downloaded this file from the data portal, from the NEON biorepository data portal. So it includes the regular Darwin Core files that we commonly find, such as the YAML, the occurrences, CSV, the metadata. And now you have this new file called citeme.txt. And that citeme is only a text file. It will include the format that you defined for your collection or source. It will also include where you downloaded the package from. So for instance, in this case, I downloaded that from the portal. But if I go to a portal search, are you still seeing my screen?
Yep.
Ugh. Sorry, I keep switching. If I go to a data set, we have public data sets in the biorepository. So if I go to a data set here and I download it, I just click on the data set and download it. Let's download this. You're probably not going to see my file. Let me share my full screen. There you go. So now I have a CiteMe text here. And when I open that, it shows me that I downloaded that from the dataset page. And if you do that from a search page, if you search many collections, it will tell you that you downloaded the data from a search page. So this is important, again, to us, so that you know exactly where you got your data from and when. And you can do whatever you want with that data. So for visibility and tracking, this is really important. And this should be available to all collections. You don't have to normally activate that to occur. Just one thing I will say is, if you are a collection manager and you are publishing the GBIF, the Darwin Core packages, and pushing them to GBIF, or just publishing the collection as a package, you have to republish them to make sure the CiteMe file will show up. Otherwise, it should be automatically available in your portal with the default formats that we have. So now I can show you how to implement the citation formats if you don't have them in your portal, and how you can modify the citation formats as well. So the first thing you have to do is to decide as a community which format you're going to use. How do you want your portal and your collections and your data sets to be cited? Do you want to use, is there any special wording you want to add? Do you want to use GBIF citation format or not? Do you want to use like a very custom format? And so on. Then you have to contact someone who has access to your files, your actual portal files, and you have to edit the formats themselves. And it's very important that the portal is up to date with the Symbiota core code, because otherwise that won't work. And I'm going to show you in GitHub. To anyone interested, where's my GitHub code? Here. On GitHub, if you go to the includes folder, the includes folder has all of the templates that we use in a Symbiota portal that can be editable. And it also includes all the formats. So you can see here that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different formats that you can edit. And to activate the different formats, you have to make a copy, just like you would with the normal template. So you just you make a copy of each of these files in the same folder, and just remove the underscore template from the name of the file. So basically, if you want to have a global citation format, you would call it citationportal.php, and that would activate the general format. If I click that, you will see the format is only text and PHP. And this is really important. We advise against adding any HTML code, any like web code to this format, because it's being used in different places and it might look funny if you add tags that are not human readable. So any text you want to change, talk to your portal admins and they can change the order of things here and the code itself and the wording. And also if you want to change the format of the date, you can also do that here. And that might be especially helpful for different languages, portals in different languages and so on. And so you basically have the general portal, which is citation portal, the citation specifically to collections pushed to GBIF, which is called citation GBIF. We try to make everything very intuitive. This one is for the public data sets. So if you have public data sets that are publicly visible, this is the format. And finally, the collections that are not, this is the default collection format for collections that are not published to GBIF. And with that, I think I'm done.
Awesome. Thanks, Laura. Are there any questions about these new tools?
Did I go too fast?
You were very efficient. Feel free to also enter your questions into chat and we can answer them there.
I have a question. Is this something like where you would advise like people that you know who are borrowing your specimens to publish paper, do some research or something, to go to there to get that citation? Go to the portal to get the citation so that you know that it's getting added to their list of references? Does that make sense?
Definitely. I think so, yeah. It would come automatically now with the data itself, if they're downloading things from your portal. But if they're not, if they're just looking at the data, yeah, I would definitely encourage them to go to the portal and check the data usage policy page.
The reason I'm asking is because like at UBC, we have a standalone database on our own. And then I'm assuming also people are downloading from say the Bravo portal or whatever.
Yes, yeah, we encourage people to, if they don't know exactly how the citation format is, they should just use the global citation, the portal citation format, which includes everything that we have in the portal. So even though we don't know exactly what they downloaded, at least we know the source and the date. And it helps portal managers to track the data usage. So yes, I would definitely go for it.
Okay, thank you.
I think James has a question.
Yes, Laura. So I have a colleague here and they would like to customize citations to include specific authors on their data sets. And oddly enough, it's one of the major issues why they are not on Symbiota. Because it's really important to them to have these authors on their data sets. So is there a way to do like a per collection customization of this?
Yes. So I assume, well, you know what I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to talk about PHP. So if the authors, where do they want to get the authors from? Would that be the collection contacts, the people who are listed as curators or data curators?
Yeah, I don't think it would come from there. So it would be like students and volunteers and people like that who worked on curating this data set.
Oh, so they mean like on an occurrence by occurrence basis?
Well, on a data set basis, at least.
Because each, So each occurrence keeps track of everyone who did everything, right? We have the
Right, right.
collectors, the
Uh-huh.
people who enter the data, and the people who curate the taxonomy in the identifiers and the term, like people who did further identifications and preparators as well. So right now, I would say it's definitely possible to add the collection contact. So anyone who's listed in the collection profile page as a contact, we can work to add, I can help you add the snippet that would dynamically add those people in the citation format.
Okay, yeah, yeah, so that makes sense.
For
And that's
specific
a good way to-
occurrences, yes.
Yeah.
So unfortunately for specific occurrences, so for instance, I want to know everyone who helped digitize all the occurrences in this data set, you would have to do it in a global way somehow. So
Okay.
for now, we don't have a way to do that. But when you download the data, they are all listed there,
Uh-huh.
if that helps.
So the template files, you can't rename one, say, ID 238 and have it just apply to that collection. They're global, right?
They're global.
Okay.
For now, yeah, they're global, but I know if you're willing to do that customization, we can
Sure.
definitely incorporate that on a collection by collection basis.
Uh-huh. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, I've got a question. In addition to collections in the portal that I'm working on, I'm also creating and managing checklists. So for citation purposes, can we apply this same format to the checklists?
We can. We haven't defined a custom checklist format yet, but we can. We definitely can. And if you go to a checklist and download the checklist, you are not going to get the cite me, because it's a different tool. But yeah, we can definitely think about doing that. It's a good idea.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, well then I'm going to stop the recording of this section of the